for everyone out there, welcome back. This is episode 2 of Brother to Brother Movie Podcast Review, a sanctuary where we hope you're going to enjoy our review of a favourite movie we chose. But like we said in the last one, we're going to sort of ask for viewers' opinions and suggestions. Nick, is that right?
Yeah, that's correct. They can reach us on B2B movie. That's number 2 B movie pod at gmail.com, and also at B2B movie pod is our Twitter handle if they want to contact us via Twitter.
Right, so that's any movies from the 80s or 90s.
Correct. To be fair, I mean, obviously we might cover some late 70s stuff. Obviously, like eventually we're going to talk about Rocky, aren't we? So we might have to like venture further afield, kind of thing, for the odd like special case like Rocky. Do you know what I mean? But other than that, it will just be 80s, 90s.
I think we both agree. Everyone will look forward to that one. Your Rocky, your Karate Kids.
Yeah, absolutely.
Your franchises.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely. Yeah, I mean, iconic films you can't ignore just because they were like a couple of years before the decade we're talking about. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. So today we're going to talk about, drum roll please, Roadhouse.
Yeah. Great film.
What a film.
Great film. Gets a nod of approval. Well, from me certainly. Just scrapes into the 80s, 1989. Did you know that apparently all the actors did their own stunts in Roadhouse?
Did they? So they were smashing bottles off each other's heads and stuff like that.
Apparently that was all the actual actors. I was reading earlier. Right.
So people who don't know, Roadhouse is Patrick Swayze, obviously the late Patrick Swayze. What a guy! What a legend.
Yeah.
It's set in New York. So, well, I'm saying it's set in New York. Starts in New York. He's a cooler, what the Americans call a cooler, what we know as a bouncer.
Yeah.
And it basically starts off in New York, and he's working in a place called the Bandstand. Is that right, Nicky? I'm sure it's called the Bandstand.
Yeah, the Bandstand. He's got it under control, isn't he?
It's under control. He's running the show, and then he gets an owner from out of town. I think he's from Missouri. He's called Frank Tillman, and he's obviously coming to headhunt.
Yeah.
Who we have to be Dalton. That's the main character Swayze plays.
Yeah, John Dalton.
Aye, Dalton. What did you say there about Dalton?
John Dalton.
Are you sure? I'm sure he's just Dalton, you know.
I can Google it.
I know one thing the listeners will pull on that.
Aye, somewhere an at on Twitter. Let me know if it's John Dalton.
I double checked that one as well, actually, and they said, it's supposed to be Zen, like he's Dalton, like he's just Dalton.
Oh, really?
Aye, but that's up for discussion. You know what I mean?
Aye,
if anyone knows any different, let me know.
100%.
So, do you want me to elaborate, Nicky, or do you want to jump in? So obviously Frank Tillman comes to obviously headhunt him.
Yeah.
He says he's running the show. And then to set the scene, obviously people know this who've watched this, but Dalton goes up to hire a guy out, didn't he? And the guy picks up an ice pick.
Slashes him, didn't he? It's one of them. That's like a great scene, that, because it's like classic 80s trying to like build up Patrick Swayze to be this like cool hard guy. Do you know what I mean? So he gets sliced, and then he didn't even flinch. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. So that's what I was going to say. Like from the off, it like sort of it shows the temperament he's got.
Aye, yeah, it does. And then he's like, I just love how the 80s just deliver things like that. Like he's in the back doing his own stitches, like no alcohol, no painkillers, just doing his own stitches. Like,
well, as Dalton says,
tremendous.
I think when like the Frank Tillman, the guy who's going to headhunt him, obviously once he sees that he doesn't react, because he's expecting a reaction, because that's all he sees from his bouncers is his like offers out pub Missouri, like,
like an informal job interview on it.
If you go on Current Times, pulled him for a chat.
Aye.
But he tells him straight away, like Dalton says, aka Swayze, like says, like it's my way or the highway, like kind of thing. Like I'll run the show. So
yeah, he's obviously got standards. Do you know what I mean? Like wants to like adhere. You know, he knows it works. He's got the formula that works. Do you know what I mean? He knows the game inside and out. I mean, like jumping the gun a bit when he goes to like the new place. He goes to get himself like a scrapper car and 4 new tires before he's even started the job. Like he knows the job that well. He knows he needs to get like Hyder's Merc. Do you know what I mean?
yeah,
And get 4 spare tires ready because he knows at the end of the night his tires are going to be slashed, the car's going to be battered. So he knows the game.
he does. What is that car? Do you know what car that is?
Or the scrapper you get. Oh, I don't know.
Is it Buick?
Possibly. It's like standard like American like car in it. A Buick.
Big at the front, big at the back.
Yeah.
So from there, he gets headhunted, and then obviously Dalton goes to check out the new place, which we now know to be called the Double Deuce. Is that right?
That's right. Yeah. It paints a picture straight away, though, doesn't it? Like you've got the bikers outside, wreaking havoc. Like just the second you see like a group of bikers in an '80s flick, you just think, oh, it's gonna be trouble here. Like, do you know what I mean? And then he heads inside. There's fighting everywhere. There's graffiti all over the walls. There's drugs getting dealt in the bathroom. I mean,
and obviously Dalton's clocking all this, isn't he? Like he's taking in the new stuff that he's going to be inheriting.
It doesn't miss a beat. Do you know what I mean? It's a bit. Sorry to bring up a modern film. It's a bit like Equalizer, you know how he like takes everything in, just like doesn't move. Similar kind of like thing, really. I wonder if that like kind of like they had Roadhouse in mind when they made like Equalizer. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. All right, definitely. A lot of these modern day films seem to be based on like. Yes.
Are you there?
Yeah. Sorry, did it go off? What was the last bit you heard there? I was saying like these modern films struggle, so that they look back on the '80s films and base a lot of their stories. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely, 100%.
So obviously we've both said like he's walking in on mayhem, fights going on in the bar.
Yeah, it's funny though as well. Just quickly, like you see him walking in, and obviously like he's developed this kind of like mythological kind of like stature in your mind, like he must be something. He must be shit hot. Do you know what I mean? Like if he's got that other place under control and he's walking to this place, like now to the matter. But when you look at him, like he's just tiny, and like you don't think like he's gonna be able to do anything. But all the like people in the bar, like, do you know what that is? That's Dalton. That's Dalton. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, although he doesn't, do you know what I mean? Although he doesn't like look up to much, the people in the bar are like, holy shit, that's Dalton. Do you know what I mean?
Well, it's an ongoing, reoccurring line, isn't it? Like throughout the film, like where they say, you know, for a bouncer, I thought you'd be bigger.
Yeah, that ain't the first time I heard that.
I think you said there's like an appearance from an old wrestler in this film in the cast.
I made Terry Funk. He's one of like the main bouncers at the start, and then obviously gets sacked. Well, I think he's one of the first ones that Swayze sacks in one of the following scenes when he starts like making his own changes. Terry Funk, wrestling legend, Terry Funk.
I think one of the good thing, like when Dalton turns up, he's obviously got an old friend there who he's obviously worked in a bar with in the past, like a guy who plays the music.
Yeah, the blind guy.
I'm sure he's called Cody. Don't quote me on that, guys. You know. I'm sure so from there, he's obviously like Cody can tell the other people like, look, like you mess with him, he'll steal your fate. That's his line.
Yeah, it's one of them. Like he obviously he's blind, he doesn't know what's going on. So the guy playing like the bass just like leans into his ear and whispers, and obviously that's him saying like Dalton's here. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's clever how they've like portrayed this like reputation of Dalton. Do you know what I mean?
And the class thing about Dalton is obviously like his nails, obviously. Do you know what I mean? But he's obviously like a decent guy. Builds a lot of like relationships with people in the town.
Yeah, he does. I mean, he's got a degree in philosophy. He says at one point, so he's obviously like switched on as well. Do you know what I mean?
I'm sure he's reading a few books throughout the film.
Yeah.
But he gets a good rapport going with a guy who he gets his digs off, you know, on that barn.
He does. What was his name again?
No, I didn't deem him important enough. Although it was a good little, you know, relationship between the two. I'm sure we can find that out later on.
Emmett is his name.
He gets a good relationship with him. Emmett obviously likes him. Like, he's not the usual sort of riffraff he has who rents a room off him. Do you know what I mean?
That's it.
But from there, he obviously, like, that's where, like, he gets introduced to the staff. Like, not long after, he's like sorted himself out. He's got his dig sorted, and then he gets introduced to the staff properly. You know, when he's standing, that iconic scene where he's sort of standing leaning against the banister, with his black t-shirt on.
Black t-shirt, yeah. I was just going to say the black t-shirt. Just quickly though, before we go to that, just going back to when he first sees the bar and that, and the main like catalyst to the big fight that kicks off at that time is when that guy says to the bloke at the bar, like, oh, like, do you like me missus kind of thing? If you've got $20, you can come and like squeeze our tits kind of thing. Do you know what I mean? I kiss him he like goes over and starts just squeezing them. He's like, he goes, I can, and I haven't got $20.
I'd be exactly the same time without the money.
Yeah.
I hope my last would appreciate that one, but it's funny.
I just thought that had to be mentioned because I was creased when I watched that.
Me brother, like, because I've said before in the previous cast, like, me and my brother, like, watch a lot of these films and that, and we remember like a lot of these lines. Do you know what I mean?
Aye, so funny, man, so funny. That's my problem. You know, I'll watch a film and then 10 minutes later, I forgot it.
Well, you get people who can remember lines from films and like people who like forget it straight away.
That's me. Unfortunately.
Like, we've openly said, like, we love these films and we might have seen them a lot of times, but you will forget stuff.
Oh, you do, man. Of course you do. But of them as well, like, I don't want to have to like sit and scrutinize a full film and do a review on it, or sit, enjoy it, and then just give me honest opinion instead of like pulling it apart. Do you know what I mean?
Don't edit yourself, Nicky. Do you know what I mean?
That's it, 100%. 100%.
People appreciate the raw honesty. So going back to the iconic scene where he's got his black t-shirt on.
Yeah, sorry.
And they're handing out severance pays because obviously he's clocked what he needed to see to make his decision. And straight away he puts a statement out by sacking what they think is the main bouncer, your wrestler guy.
Aye, Terry Funk. Well, he sacks him because he's got the wrong attitude in it. That's it, the wrong attitude. He's got the wrong attitude, mate. And then he sacks that lass. I didn't realise she worked there like earlier on until obviously she just gets sacked. But she was
like, what's he called? Terry Funk.
Terry Funk. That's his real name.
Like, what the hell am I supposed to do? In like a famous line, there's always barber college.
Yeah, there's always barber college. He's got that haircut, hasn't he?
Like a soul glow mullet.
Soul glow, nice. I was because he sacks that lass who sells the drugs in the bathroom. Obviously, I didn't realise she worked there. Like when she first like sells the drugs, but he says to her as well, didn't he? What did he say to her again? We sell alcohol here, not drugs. I thought that was like a cool little line. Do you know what I mean that he got out there?
Yeah. And what people will sort of like realize as well if they haven't watched the film yet or when they do watch it, like he sacked a few, but he could have sacked a lot more. He sort of he leaves it like he's left them on the last legs kind of thing.
Aye. I think you realise just quickly a lot of the bouncers were just following Terry Funk's lead.
Oh, aye.
Do you know what I mean? I think that's why he kind of thought, I'll make a statement here, I'll get rid of this guy, and then you now do like follow my lead, and I mean lead by example or whatever.
Like there's a guy called Steve there who I'm sure he's sitting there with a shine on you just now. He's like a nappy. Like he won't last long. He at one point he gets caught like obviously on the job with some lasting in a cover.
Sculling his lasties, you gonna be my Saturday night thing, girl.
You gonna be my regular Saturday night thing. Aye. When Dalton walks in, he says, "But I'm on my break," and he says, "Yeah, stay on it." The class.
Aye, that's unreal. That stay on it, and he just walks out.
Aye.
I love little like lines like that, man. So cool. Like that's a thing. Like with 80s films, like the main character is just cool as fuck, and he'll sorry for the language, but he'll come out with like quirky little lines like that. Do you know what I mean? Not corny, but just like funny little cool lines. Like stay on it. Do you know what I mean? I hate to put you on the spot here, but you did quote it quite good earlier when we were talking about it. When Dalton, he's telling them basically like it's nothing personal. Someone gets in your face, just be nice. Yeah. That guy they just mentioned that gets sacked goes, being called a cocksucker isn't personal like that, and then Swayze just looks at him and goes, no, it's two nouns combined to elicit a prescribed response. Like What a line!
You see how I set him up for that one, guys? I set him up for it. It is a class line, mate. It's just brilliant because like he says to them, like, look, if you're trying to be nice, and he gets in your face and he's having to go one more, like there'll be 2 years, and you'll both be nice. Class one.
It is unreal.
Brilliant.
Unreal. He's a cool guy. Like, he's a cool guy.
He is. So obviously, like, I think Dalton says, like, and obviously Dalton's just like he's the main cooler in the film, but he's also got like a close mate who gets a mention, doesn't he?
Wade Garrett.
Wade Garrett.
Well, there's a scene earlier on when he's getting headhunted. I don't know if I said this before, but like that guy that owns Double Deuce, it says to him like, I've came here because I want the best. And Swayze says straight away, if you want the best, you need to go speak to Wade Garrett. Do you know what I mean? So it said it like straight away established like this Wade Garrett's like reputation, just basically because Dalton, this like god of a man, as he's getting built in the film, says this other guy's better than him. Do you know what I mean? So straight away it like establishes that like respect for this Wade Garrett bloke.
So like to the point now, you know, like obviously the iconic C black t-shirt on the stairwell.
Yep.
Like you haven't seen him in action yet. So it's not long after that he has his first shift, and there's some like drunk guy and he's bird dancing on the table and that.
Yeah, it was brutal, that. Unreal.
And Dalton gives the little head nod he loves to do as it is go on, like get him down.
Aye.
And he asks like politely nice and that, and the guy like sort of pushes him away. Dalton signals again, try again, and then the guy pulls a knife on him.
Aye, he does. The bouncer shows like good like control, not to just go back to his old ways and just because of who Dalton is in that moment, the bouncer just has blind faith that he's going to be okay. Do you know what I mean? And not to kick off.
He's wanting to impress Dalton, isn't he?
Aye, exactly, 100%.
So the guy pulls the knife, and from nowhere, Dalton just like grabs the wrist, smacks his head off the table so quick. Guy's busted up.
Aye, job to him.
Unreal. And then the guy who like initially went to try and break it up is just staring at Dalton like in awe, like, did you see that shit, man?
I was gonna say, as he drags him away, he's like, did you see that? And that's like the first real taste of Dalton. Do you know what I mean? Unreal.
Yes, and then Dalton calmly puts his hand up to the bird on the table to like get her down.
And she just does it as well. Like, listen to what I was just told.
Aye. And then I think even she's like walking off, going, "Who is that guy?"
Aye, 100%. Frothing.
And then that's when he's blind mate Corey. The name is Dalton.
Yeah, unreal. Unreal. Then obviously after that, that's when he goes outside and his car's been battered, like I mentioned earlier. He preempted that. Amazing. He just knows the game.
Well, that's it. He's been around that many towns. He knows like they're going to put his windows out, put like his tires down.
Aye, that's it. That's
you
it.
Know what I mean?
100% with it. But then obviously the next day, obviously he goes to work, and that's when Is it when he goes to work, or is he in Red's auto shop, and that's when he meets Brad Wesley?
Well, I think the first taste he gets of Wesley is on the road. Wesley's like driving his car, listening to his music, swinging.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, he is.
And like Swayze's like, "What's going on?" And
what was the crack with that scene though? I don't understand why Wesley's just driving all the road. Is that just to basically show you like he just doesn't care about anybody or anything? Like it's his world, not Brad's world.
All right. So for anyone out there, obviously, like I don't know, like Brad Wesley is the main guy who thinks he owns the town.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? He's like the main sort of bad guy in this film, isn't he? But he's just showing that this is his town. Like, he can just do what he wants.
Yeah, I'm sure the car he's driving as well is the same as the one DeVito drives in Twins. I'm sure it is. Sure it is. Right? Not the actual same exact car, like, do you know what I mean? But it's the same like make and model. I mean,
for anyone that likes the film Twins, we did a podcast before this, the first one based on Twins. So check that one out. Yeah. So like, he meets Red for the first time, obviously at that garage in the town.
Yeah.
And Red is the uncle of Dalton's future love interest, isn't it?
Yeah, aye, yeah, that's right. Because he's got a picture of her on the wall, and he doesn't clock that when he first goes. He doesn't clock that when he first goes in. He clocks that after, like, he's met that basically. Yeah,
that's right. But you're right in saying that is where he gets introduced to Wesley properly, like where he sees him, obviously, like collecting. You know, like he obviously takes from the town, doesn't he? Be there?
Hello?
Yeah, he's back. He's back. Sorry, I was just saying there, like, that is your first taste of like seeing Wesley like taken from the town.
Yeah.
Like what they're making and stuff. Do you know what I mean?
It's your first snippet as well of his his right hand man, like his consigliere, if you will. Do you know what I mean? That guy that thinks he's nails with the earring in.
Yeah.
Like straight away, you know, like there's going to be a showdown between these two later. It's going to be unreal.
You always find that in a film, in an action film. Like, you've got your main character, and there's always going to be someone who's at your level who they're going to face later on.
Yeah.
Not long after that as well, like, you see, like, for the first time, like, Swayze, like, doing his kata out on the grass.
Aye.
Like, in the sun, a total 80s sort of scene, which
It is.
we love.
Aye, it is. And Emmett's like pure like in admiration of him.
Yeah. And for like people obviously who've seen Roadhouse, like, you'll know that Brad Wesley like only lives across the water in his mansion.
Aye, crazy that.
Because in that scene, he pulls up on his quad bike. I think he's on. He just sort of looks over and he shakes his head as if to say like, "What's?"
Aye. For them though, I think with martial arts, like I think if you do martial arts, you'll have respect for what Swayze's doing. But if you don't, you don't really have any knowledge. It's just like, what on earth is he doing? Do you know what I mean? I think that's the kind of like thing that Brad Wesley's put across, like, because Brad Wesley's, I don't know why, but Brad Wesley, sorry, is meant to be like also a hard kid. Do you know what I mean? But he just doesn't look it. So when he's looking at him doing his martial arts, it's basically like as if Brad Wesley's saying, you don't need martial arts to be hard. Do you know what I mean? That's the impression I got from when he started shaking his head.
So I think like from then on, that's when you begin to see the pushback from like your Wesley and stuff. Like, so far, Dalton's getting his own way, sacking people left, right, and centre. But then he turns up at work and he sacked the bartender and they're saying,
That's his nephew.
Mr. Tillman's changed his mind. Like, he's going to reinstate him in that, because that's right. Is he Brad Wesley's nephew who he sacked?
His sister's only son, he says.
God.
But then obviously like a fight breaks out there, and he gets slashed in that with a knife and that. But before he I don't know if it's before he goes to the hospital or after. That's when he actually phones Wade Garrett, because obviously he's seeking advice. Do you know what I mean, for who he deems as the best. Do you know what I mean? And you can see in that phone call that Dalton's just in pure admiration of this Wade Garrett fella, who, by the way, is cool as ice.
Yes, but I think it also shows you like Dalton's, for the first time, he went to a lot of towns, but this time he seems a little bit concerned more than normal.
Aye, yeah.
But just to go back quickly to what you said, obviously a fight breaks out at the bar, and then he has to go and get stitches, and that's where he's pretend like he's love interest, isn't he?
Yeah, Doc, the Doc, as she's titled it in the credits, I'm sure.
The Doc.
The Doc.
Her name escapes me in the minute. I'm sure like a character named Elizabeth Clay.
Aye.
But she's been in a few films like from the 80s, so we'll have to come back to that one. I bet you the people are like screaming at the podcast saying she's in there. But she is in a few films.
Yeah.
So from there, well, timeline-wise, obviously he did that phone call, like you said. So I think Wade Garrett's even thinking like, maybe I need to go and check on how he's doing up there.
Aye. Well, if not long after that scene where he phones Wade Garrett, I don't know if it was, he's like in the club and that blonde lass is like introducing herself to him in the club, and then that Brad Wesley's right hand man like takes her away, doesn't he? And you think nothing more of it, but then when Dalton's at his house, Brad Wesley's like, cronies come and get him. And when he goes to Brad Wesley's house, that blonde lass is now covered in like bruises and just basically been battered for like coming on to Dalton.
Yeah, great spot. I spotted that as well. She's sort of like doing a bit of exercise in the different room.
It's funny though, you know, like he gives the look like he's gonna like seek revenge for her kind of thing. Do you know what I mean? But I don't ever feel like
he likes her.
But not that he likes her, just that I don't feel like he did seek out that revenge. I think at first when I watched it, I thought, oh, he's gonna like get these for doing that to her kind of thing. But I didn't get that. I just feel like he kind of just that was just to basically show you what kind of guys he's dealing with. Do you know what I mean? If the way to do that, like
he doesn't care.
Aye, basically. Do you know what I mean?
That's basically like a scene where Brad Wesley tries to buy him, doesn't he? Like he's like everybody else he just buys, and he sort of says to Dalton, if I take over the nightclub or whatever, like how much would it cost to get you to work for me?
Yeah, not enough money. There ain't enough money.
Like, there's not enough money. And he sort of does his famous Dalton, like his famous Patrick Swayze walk out of there.
Aye, well, his mullet.
That mullet is iconic. I love it. I think no one could pull a mullet off better than Patrick Swayze.
He definitely nails it. Like, he definitely nails it.
Yeah. So,
but go on.
I'm just going to say, like, from there, like, it's obviously like the story between him and the doctor. Like, obviously they're getting on more and that they're falling for each other.
Well, that's when she turns up with the club in it that night. After he's left the thing with you, I'm sure she turns up with the club, like, because the double deuce, because he tells her where she works and that. And that's what I was saying earlier. Like, it's a different time, you know. Like, he went to the doctor's. Like, there was obviously like a bit of interest there, so he just said, "Look, like, come down and see us. Do you know what I mean? Have a drink or whatever." There's no like
simpler.
It's just a simpler time, mate. There's no like adding each other on Instagram or whatever. Do you know what I mean? But it's like Cobra Kai when Johnny goes on about it, didn't he? What happened to just like hitting someone hard with your shoulder and then just like saying, "Oh, sorry," and then talking from there. Do you know what I mean? It's the same kind of thing, like.
Yeah.
And then but then that scene though, when he throws someone out or something, you can see that because of his presence, the double deuces like massively upgraded. Do you know what I mean? It's like a totally new place. Like the band's no longer playing behind that protective net, and they've got all the new lights out front, and there's a massive queue. So it's obviously like a really popular place now that he's there. So again, that further like shows you the impact that Dalton's got.
Yeah. So he's obviously like he's well in with his doctor, Elizabeth Clare, but it's obviously like Brad Wesley's had a soft spot for her like over the years and stuff. So this is just like building up to one massive showdown, isn't it?
Yeah, unreal.
So from there, I'm sure like Dalton's working in the bar and he's doing a delivery out the back.
Well, because he talks to the barman or is it the guy who owns it? And that's the barman, and he says like we're finally get busy now. We're running out of alcohol because obviously, that Brad Wesley obviously like runs the town, so he's literally just stopped any alcohol vendor doing business with the double juice. So that's why, like you were about to say there, Dalton basically like sorts it out and personally takes the delivery.
But what happens is obviously like Wesley's cronies are there and they obviously jump him, don't they?
Terry Funk turns up with the cronies, and that there's like a huge guy and he's like enormous, him, and I'm sure there's like four of them just start basically battering him, and then that's obviously when you get Wade Garrett, like again, so cool, man. With that Wade Garrett character, so cool. The way he just like turns up and
Wade Garrett's got some bonds on him as well. Like he's
cool
dog sort of
so cool. He just like walks up. He's like, "Oh, where's like." What does he call him again to the barman? Is there a skinny chump? Skinny run. Aye, that works, yeah. Oh, he's at the back taking the delivery.
And they're thinking, like, who's that talking about? Dalton.
Aye, who does he think he is? But he walks out and they've got Dalton, like, three of them, like, behind him, and that one's just, two of them behind him holding his arm, and the one just, like, lays in his stomach. And that way, Garrett's just cool as you like, just, like, watching him. He might even put a tab in his mouth or something, do you know what I mean? And he's just, like,
I'm sure he, like, just comes out, he's just standing there, and he goes, like, "You okay, amigo?" Like that.
Yeah, sorry, like that. So cool.
And Dalton's still being held by two people taking punches while he's having a big stare down with this big giant.
With that big giant, like walks over me, he goes, "What's it again? You want to fight, Dickless?" Do you know what I mean? And then that Wade just looks at him and goes, "Well, I sure ain't gonna show you my dick," and then just fucking brails him in the knob. It's so cool, man. So cool.
That is class. I think from there, that's where Dalton like introduces his last to Wade, you know.
I mate, but there's an interesting scene. Right? I was going to ask you this.
Would
you trust Wade with your bird?
Nah. I was thinking this myself. I was thinking that's something you would do.
Jesus.
No, like basically, like, I thought like he's creeping in, but like you could have the argument like that they've been mates for years, and that, but it doesn't matter, does it? You know?
It doesn't matter how much he mates, but that is a different time. Like Jesus.
Women have an effect on certain guys.
But I think he's cool as out, and she probably would have, to be fair. But then that's when obviously like obviously we've experienced Wade now. We've experienced that obviously he is like shit hot when it comes when it comes down to it. He is shit hot kind of thing. Do you know what I mean? By helping Dalton basically. Then he has the bit with the bird, and then there's an interesting scene where she goes to the bathroom, and then that's when Dalton sheds a bit like light on Dalton's past reference. That Brad brings it up earlier about how Dalton's killed a man and it doesn't touch any more on it. So then this Wade like kind of sheds a bit light in it at this scene. He's like saying like that he was obviously shagging some lass. She didn't tell him that she was married. The husband was found out, pulled a gun on him, on Dalton, and Dalton's had to fucking defend himself and kill this bloke, basically. Do you know what I mean? And so it was good. Yeah. It was good, like a bit of backstory for Dalton there.
But you can tell it makes Dalton extremely uncomfortable.
Oh yes, it's definitely still haunting him like 100%.
Aye, definitely.
100%, definitely. 100%.
Yeah. What a story though that he ripped someone's throat out.
Is I love it. Crazy.
And like we'll get to that in a minute, like, but he obviously like repeats that, you know what I mean? So I think from there, like we all know like where everyone is. Obviously, like Wesley is like not appreciating Dalton being in this town.
Yeah.
He doesn't appreciate that his old flame who I wouldn't say it's his old flame, he's just had a thing for her, like the last who he's going out with, Elizabeth Clay, is nothing about him. But also his side bit also wants a bit of Dalton as well.
He basically feels like he's losing the power, doesn't he? So he's trying to do what he can to keep control of his little redneck mountain town.
So he even pays a visit to the Double Deuce, doesn't he? And obviously that's where I'm sure it's the Double Deuce where it is. And his side bit does like a strip tease on the stage for Dalton.
Yeah, but just quickly though, but like he turns up the Double Deuce, but after Red's place gets torched and explodes.
Yeah, sorry, like obviously Wesley's terrorizing the town, isn't he?
Yeah.
Like I'm sure at one point he gets a monster truck and he runs over like the guy's cars at the garage. Do you know what I mean?
He does.
Dealership.
So he tortures Red's place and then literally straight away just walks into the Double Deuce basically, and that's when obviously this scene that you're about to describe unfolds. But I loved it as well. Just quickly, like Red turns up in his car, gets out, and just like pulls his hat off and just slams it to the floor. Like we don't see that enough nowadays. I don't think the old slamming the hat off the floor is in frustration kind of thing. Do you know what I mean? Like it's like a dying art.
We mentioned earlier, like Red is the uncle of Elizabeth Clay, Dalton's love interest.
Yes.
So
anyway, onto the scene you're about to go into.
So the scene obviously where Wesley's at the club and obviously like his missus is doing a striptease for Dalton. He's not appreciating that, but then like we said before, when Dalton like finds his match, like sort of martial arts wise, this is where he's letting it be known that he's his match kind of thing.
It is. Yeah, basically. So it's one of them as well. Like, obviously Wade fights him first, and obviously like. The guy who owns a Double Deuce says like, "Oh, Wade's getting a bit old at the start." So this was like basically like the first scene where you see that Wade is showing a bit of age now, and he is like going down a bit because he gets a hiding basically off like Brad's enforcer, if you want to call him that. Do you know what I mean?
That's when Dalton steps in and they're having a good scrap. It's quite evenly matched.
Yeah, it's like a teaser, like a little teaser, because Brad calls it like shoots his gun straight away, doesn't he? And like calls it like
it's not working out, Dalton.
Stop, like kind of thing.
I think like from there, that's where like
falling apart for
They sort of have like a neighborhood meeting, don't they? At one of the houses, like where the guy from the car dealership, Red, a few of the others that have been terrorized.
Like, because after because you were saying there about the car dealership getting destroyed, that happens just after that bar scene that was described. So it just seems to be like everything's falling apart. Do you know what I mean? Like Red's just been destroyed. Big fight in Double Deuce, which we didn't think we'd see again, and then obviously the car dealership goes. So that's when they have this meeting in it.
It's brilliant though, because Tillman like sort of says at the end of that meeting to Dalton, he says like, Wesley never gets scared, but he was scared last night. Dalton just goes, no, he wasn't. Like, you know what I mean?
I stop trying to bullshit his.
Yeah, like, a great line that we haven't mentioned. Like Dalton earlier on says like it'll get worse before it gets better. You know what I mean?
Yeah, unreal that. Unreal.
There's probably a few like unreal like Roadhouse lines we missed out, but I'm sure people let me know. But then there's so many in this film. That's what it is.
It is. Well, it's an 80s flick. There's always loads of lines in an 80s flick, I think, that are unreal. But obviously, because it's all starting to fall apart, you can kind of see that Dalton's starting to get a bit stressed and a bit like starting to get to him a bit. Do you know what I mean? Because he's in the barn like doing his big training, and Wade turns up, and he even tries to attack Wade. Do you know what I mean? He tries to attack Wade. He falls out with Doc. Do you know what I mean? Because she wanted to leave for his own safety.
For me, that's like letting the audience know that like Dalton's about to go into psycho mode.
Basically, especially obviously because literally as he's chasing the Doc to our car, Emmett's house blows up, and then that's it. You just know, like, oh, here we go. It's time now, like.
And the good thing about it, like, his close friend Wade is obviously there, like, trying to sort of say, "Come on, we'll be out of here by dawn," and that. Let's just leave.
He can't walk away, kind of thing.
And like, he knows, you can see that Dalton's like, obviously, like, he's not going to leave us. He's thinking, shit, he's going nowhere.
Aye, that's why he blows up his house in it, and then obviously, like, his right hand man just like drives away on the bike, didn't he? Like he like, like just like a corny, like evil guy laugh, did he?
You've got Wesley like looking over from his lawn, like smiling with his little hat on, like, you know, thinking this is great.
Aye.
So this is when obviously Dalton just goes legging it and pulls him off his bike.
Aye, clotheslines him off his bike, and that's when you know straight away, like, right, this is it. It's time now, like, it's time.
This is the showdown we've been wanting.
Aye, basically, and it for me, it doesn't disappoint. Do you know what I mean? Like, a lot of it, like, there's some false finishes, as I say in wrestling, where you think, like, that's it done, like, Dalton's going to lose here, like, do you know what I mean? Then he fights back, and then he gets beat up again, and you think that's him done, then he somehow manages to fight back again, and then...
Aye. He's in great nick. Dalton's in great nick there, like, isn't he?
Oh, yeah. Aye, incredible, mate. Aye,
top off, gone for it. Class.
Aye. And then, obviously, it's like a... Is it a metaphor? It's very like symbolic anyway. That like the end of the fight, as he basically like wins essentially.
Yeah.
The guy spits his dummy out, pulls a gun on him, and then it's just he must like going into his mind. He must be just like reliving that moment where that other guy pulled a gun on him, kind of thing, and he had to defend himself.
Well, you can see Dalton's face change once he knows there's a gun involved.
Aye, yeah, aye.
And obviously, he goes for the throat. That's his go-to death move.
yeah, it's finisher.
It's finisher. Unreal. Seriously, like the guy's like trying out. I'm sure he hits him with plank of wood at one point and stuff, and he feels like a lighter dog. Like, I used to fuck guys like you in prison.
That's the shittest line ever, in it. I used to fuck guys like you in prison. Like, what on earth is that?
I think halfway through the fight, he's telling that he finds him attractive, you know.
Yeah, the way the river's glistening off his body. Aye,
that's it. Like, damn, boy, I thought you were good.
Aye. I love that though. Obviously, the Doc sees it, runs off, and then he just like, instead of chasing her, he basically just like grabs this dead carcass and just drags it in the river, and he's just screaming at like Brad Wesley. Like,
just before that, like that Elizabeth, like, because obviously she's a doctor, her natural instincts to try and help like a person in distress. She sees that the throat's being ripped out, she can't believe it. Do you know what I mean?
Aye.
I think that's when she realizes that Dalton's capable of death.
Yeah, killing someone. Yeah. You know the guy I thought you were. You know the guy I thought you were, Dalton. Do you know what I mean? That's the kind of like line you expect.
Sorry to step on you. What you were saying there, when he pulls the body into the river and shouts over like Wesley.
Aye, unreal. That's like a proper like just awesome moment. I think the way he just like drags this dead body that he's just like terminated, kind of thing, just walking into the water, just like Wesley. Do you know what I mean? It's like unreal. Unreal.
Then I think like not long after that, he's just sitting in the bar, like probably thinking like, what the hell do we do? I think he says to Wade Garrett, like, let's, because Wade Garrett comes in the bar, then he all battered and bruised.
Aye. Well, it's like an eye for an eye, basically, isn't it?
Aye. Hitting him where it hurts.
Aye. He knows, like, everyone knows, like, because the way the film's gone on, that this Wade Garrett's is like mentor. Do you know what I mean?
But even then, like, Dalton's like thinking Wesley's won, like, let's go, kind of thing. Like, he's going to go and get the doctor, like his bird, and he wants to leave town with her.
Yeah.
It's like if he's mentally got Dalton, Wesley. And obviously, once the doctor's not playing ball, he sort of returns back to the pub, then he, and finds spoiler, by the way, finds his mate dead.
Aye, he's got a knife, got a knife in his back, saying it was Tails. So I don't know if I missed a line. I miss a line? Because it says it was tails. Like, did he flip a coin or something earlier on that I missed?
I think he did, but I'm sure people let one now. They're like, I can't remember. I remember that bit, obviously seeing tails.
It was tails.
I think that's great acting by Swayze actually when he wants to pull the knife out and he's like, whoa. He's trying to get that gut strength to sort of pull it out.
It can't be easy. Do you know what I mean? Jesus.
And
That's when he goes into full badass and heads to the Wesley compound and wants to take the whole thing down, basically, like unreal.
Psycho mode, aye.
100%. Like, he's just like, right, I'm taking the whole compound down here. Like,
so he takes out all of Wesley's cronies, gets his showdown with them. Which, ironically, for people obviously listening, like, Brad Wesley's nothing to look like. He's just like an old guy, but he's got a lot of power, money.
Yeah.
Like, Dalton should just fill him in within less than a minute. Do you know what I mean?
You would think so, but he holds it. To be fair, mate, it's a kind of scene, like, the way it's going on, but obviously the way it ends is like very, like, really symbolic of the town getting it back kind of thing. Do you know what I mean?
That's what I was getting to. Like, it's brilliant how, like, they all take a shot at him because what it is, Swayze has the opportunity to do we now know his death move, pull his throat out again, and obviously put his lasses looking, and he obviously thinks like, I'm not doing it again in front of us.
Imagine that. You look at my lasses, I thought I would rip your.
I should be out of this one now. But then so he leaves Wesley alone, but your typical bad guy like wants to go for the gun again and sort of shoot him.
Swayze's filtered at the end.
So from out of nowhere, all the people that Wesley's terrorized, they've all got the massive shotguns and all take a pop at them, don't they?
Aye, they do. They all just take the shot. And it's like it is like very symbolic, like way to end the film. Like this is our town, but it's one of them. Like the 80s films are all very like there's a bully and the underdog's trying to kind of overcome it kind of thing. And this is the same kind of thing. This Brad Wesley is bullying this town essentially. And they all basically the end like get one back over on the bully essentially and shooting through a table.
Well, that's it. Like, and obviously it's a good moment how it's Frank Tillman that gets to do it, because he's obviously been like, even though he's like successful and got his own business and that, he's still like being owned by him. Do you know what I mean?
Aye. It's one of them, and I mean, any of them could have pulled that final trigger, because obviously Red lost his business and did, you know what I mean? And then obviously Emmett lost his house and.
Well, that's it. So obviously Wesley gets killed. Then obviously, more or less end of the film, like shows you Swayze and the buddy out with his bird and that.
Living the dream.
Aye. So I think that like sort of brings me to the end, like of the Roadhouse review. Yeah.
Aye, it does. It does. I think what we need to start doing is like a rating system. Do you know what I mean? Rate out of 10 or 5 or whatever. Do you know what I mean?
Well, that's your 40. Like I think people will get that out there. You're the media guy for it.
Aye. I mean, it's one of them. Like we'll talk about 90-minute films being like the perfect length. This is like just shy of 2 hours, but I would say, especially if you have never seen it, it's definitely worth that extra like 25-minute commitment. Do you know what I mean? Personally,
there's definitely some films that are worth the 2 hour mark.
Yeah.
We prefer a magic 90 minutes, but
we do.
There is no one. It's funny because your girlfriend was asking like what we're reviewing like today, and I told her Roadhouse. Her reply was, "I've never heard of it."
Never?
Well, she's 29.
Oh, right, okay.
It's funny how you touched on it earlier, how they were going to do a possible remake of Roadhouse, like a reboot.
Aye, they were. I don't know if that's still a thing though. Like, I couldn't really find any more information on it. But obviously, Ronda Rousey was meant to be the starring role, but they made a second Roadhouse, in like 2006.
Hey,
Roadhouse 2
sequel. I've seen it. It's terrible.
I've heard it's terrible. It's meant to be his son, but he hasn't even got the same name or something like that.
He's his son, and he talks about his dad Dalton and that, and like a few of the lines go like, "I thought he'd be bigger." He gets smiles and all that, and it's terrible. But yeah, I still like the little references to like Dalton. Do you know what I mean?
The little nods.
Dalton Jr. Aye.
But overall, solid film. Thoroughly enjoyed it. I would definitely recommend anyone that likes like an action flick to give it a watch. Swayze knocks it out of the park for me. Like
Swayze's renowned for doing some great films like Dirty Dancing, Ghost.
Well, it's one of them actually. I was reading about this following Roadhouse. Swayze got offered a role in Predator 2 and Tango and Cash, but apparently not long after filming Roadhouse, he injured his knee or something. So he didn't want to be like an action star with a limp. So he turned down like Predator 2 and Tango and Cash. And like you say there, he was in Ghost. That Ghost was around that time, I'm sure. So he must have opted for Ghost basically instead, which to be fair, mate, paid off in the long run. Do you know what I mean? It's like some of the most iconic scenes ever is it in Ghost.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I mean, fair play to him for turning down a role because he doesn't think an action star should have a limp. Do you know what I mean?
Right. I wish Liam Neeson had listened to that when he did Taken 3. Christ, he's like an old man, keep running away like on the run like a fugitive. Honestly, it was embarrassing. And I love Taken. But we're not getting it. That's 2000s.
Too modern.
But for people listening out there, like I hope you enjoyed the second episode.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which we always say is a sanctuary.
Yeah.
We hope. Any feedback? Obviously, Nikki, do you want to read out them emails again and stuff?
If you just get in touch with her on B2, so B2Bmoviepod@gmail.com, or send us a tweet at B2Bmoviepod. Just any correspondence you've got, whether it's a film you want with a review, if it's some feedback, or even if it's just like
get it in.
You want to flag off, yeah, absolutely. But you might even have like a fun little fact that we haven't mentioned, or there might be your favorite part of the film that you didn't feel like we touched on. Then get in touch, and we might give you a shout out the next episode.
Yeah, definitely. So I think all that's left to say is be excellent
to each other.
Yeah.
Peace out.
Peace out.
The podcast you just heard was made using Anchor. Ever thought about making your own podcast? Anchor makes it really easy for anyone to get started. It's a one-stop shop for recording, hosting, and distributing podcasts. Best of all, it's 100% free. Sign up now at anchor.fm/new. That's anchor.fm/new to get started.